Even among Aethermancer's roster of goofy guys, Wyrmling is an oddball, and that's thanks to his unique passive, Gift of the Worm. With it, Wyrmling has the ability to stack a tremendous amount of power and make even the weakest monster out there swing for the fences. So, in today's run, we're gonna see just how far we can push Wyrmling's abilities. So, obviously, we start the run by picking Heroic and choosing Wyrmling. And right off the bat, we're blessed with Gargoyle, one of the more fun and interesting partners for Wyrmling. These other guys are cool, but they don't even register in my brain here. Sorry, Soup Man, we got Gargs to enable. Immediately after, we get a great roll from Sir Tiberian with the shield generating drum. And now I have to explain what's going on. We'll start with Gargoyle. Their signature trait gives them 1 stack of Sidekick for every 12 shield they apply to others or get applied to them. Then, every time they trigger Sidekick, they consume all their Sidekick stacks and blast the opponent with their combined damage. Thanks to the drum we got earlier, Garg also applies 1 temp power to an ally and generates 2 shield on itself every turn, contributing to its passive. Even better, Garg starts with Mineralize, a cheap support action that applies 5 shield and 1 temporary power to all allies. This is where Wyrmling comes in. Their signature trait is really interesting. Whenever they use a support action, they apply 1 temporary power to themselves. Whenever they use an attack action, they consume all of their power stacks and add them to both allies, effectively doubling the amount of power on the team. So, the foundation of the team is to Mineralize, attack with Wyrmling, then Sidekick with Garg. Right now, the damage is not that great, but we have something to work with right out of the gate. We dispatch the first 2 groups with a little worry and get our first level up. Wyrmling gets to choose from these 3. Honestly, not very confident in these choices. Ascension is obviously super strong, but we're never going to use that before the next level. Cleanse Corruption gives us some extra protection and healing, but it's so minimal that it's hardly worth it at this point in the run. Cosmic Absorption was what I decided on, since I don't have to go out of my way to enable it, and free ether never hurts. Garg has a tough decision to make. Both Quicken and Tactical Shields guides us into more focused and powerful builds that require ingredients to start cooking. Quicken basically gives Garg way more power depending on its allies' healing. Tactical Shields raises the overall power level of the crew at the cost of 1 monster being relegated to shield duty, which is actually where Gargoyle thrives. In the end though, I went with Joint Protection for a similar reason as before. It enhances what I already have rather than relying on things I don't. Our third partner is, oh boy, a selection between Warden, Mephisto, and Mandragora. Honestly, neither of these monsters really spoke to me. Warden is another bulky power stacker, Mephisto turns ailments up to 11, and Mandy offers tons of healing and weakness. I wound up going with Mandy because I might be able to get some healing synergy from it. You might think Warden is the obvious choice here, and I can definitely see that. For me though, the ultimate problem with Warden is that it's selfish. All of that power stacking applies only to itself, and we actually want to generate more power on specifically Wyrmling. For now, we're just going to coast on the combo between Garg and Wyrm, using Mandy to provide an extra layer of defense. For the 4th battle, we get into it with 1 Volpertinger and 2 Orthrus, a seriously intimidating team. Both Orthrus could potentially scale super hard by getting Sidekick stacks, but thankfully we didn't have to deal with that turn 1. My content flashed before my eyes after I missed a KO on Volper, who then proceeded to hit Wyrmling with 2 nasty crits. On turn 2, the rear Orthrus intended to use Firefang, which gives it a stack of Sidekick. This is the Mayday moment I spoke of earlier. Thankfully, I used Void Blitz on the other Orthrus and was able to stagger him while removing Volper and preparing to do the same to the staggered Orthrus next turn. This removes any of the threat from Orthrus scaling, so the fight was a done deal from there. And Mandy gets their first level. I was way too picky here and used both skill rerolls even though there were some good choices. I wound up settling with Regeneration Shield because it melded with what I already had and enabled Garg to gain multiple sidekicks in a turn. After the battle, we claim Void Meteorite and bless Wyrmling with Wind Affinity. Now, their attacks will deal wind damage and generate an additional wind ether. I chose Wyrmling here because both Garg and Mandy should never be using basic attacks, while Wyrmling can gain a lot from doing so. We dispatch our 5th battle and both Garg and Wyrm gain a level. For Wyrmling, we're offered something amazing. Energy Charm. It's a free support action, meaning we can use this first to give Wyrm 1 stack of temporary power, then we can use an attack action right after to spread that temporary power to Garg and Mandy. The other 2 options were way too slow relative to this one. Gargoyle's options were a bit lackluster. Charge Up is just okay while also competing with Energy Charm. Energy Rush is a nice 4-hit attack that can boost those Sidekick stacks really high. Dust Strike is what I eventually went with, though, because it had both power and shield aspects to it, and we were more reliably generating Earth Ether each turn. We go down the Ether Spring path, then we choose the Gold Boon for extra gold generation, we beat up some monsters, and Mandy gains another level. I considered Healing Brew for a little bit, but I ultimately decided to go with Pollen Shield since it gave us some proactive defenses. The next battle had me worried for Warden because they halved Wyrmling's HP in one hit, but I was still confident in the combo. And I was further emboldened by the equipment drop we got. This epic staff offered a 100% guarantee to add a hit to each attack. Honestly, this could have been great on Gargoyle, but the best choice here was Wyrmling, as it got the full value from this item every single turn. Now we got Warden. With the staff in tow, I had less than zero worries going into this fight. Warden's special poise mechanic means you have to hit him a whole bunch, and wow, that's exactly what this team does. Between the shielding, healing, and scaling, Warden didn't stand much of a chance. Actually, something really funny happened. Warden's most annoying move is Volcanic Guard, which gives him a retaliate buff where he hits back after getting attacked. He also spreads weakness this way. The catch is that you cannot skip a monster's turn in Aethermancer. You must use an action. So, more often than not, you're going to be stuck hitting him. Thankfully, every single one of my monsters have a support action that doesn't attack Warden, so I never triggered Retaliate. Take that, you stone lizard. We get a level up for Garg and Worm. We got a really easy choice with Wyrmling. Ether Cycle is alright, but not great, and Void Burn is equally as strong as it is dangerous. I feel comfortable enough with Ascension now, so we nab that. And then Garg's Choice blew this run open. Leadership and Indomitable attacks are great, but Power Healing is exactly what we needed. Not only can we trigger Ascension, now we can do it really fast. The combo is looking incredibly strong right now, but we still have a major problem: staggering. Enemies are going to get stronger, and we're not going to be able to stop their big attacks. We can heal and shield through that, but we'll still take on a ton of corruption. If only there was something that could deal with that. Oh my goodness. Lance is one of the strongest equips in the game. It converts the first hit of every attack into the wild element, and that deals damage to any kind of poise. And guess who's attacking at least twice a turn? That's right, it's Garg. This run just went from confident to we're so in. We also buy some experience to level up Mandy, and wow, the run only gets better. Regenerated Prime fits this team so well, it's a no-brainer addition. We pay a visit to Tiberian again and trade in Mandy's equipment for a choice of 3 random epic equips. For these 3, the choice was between Armor and Talisman. Ocarina didn't really fit into Mandy's role, funnily enough. I wound up going with Talisman here solely because I valued its Sidekick enhancer over the safety Armor provided. The potential to double buff was a bonus. Honestly though, I could have gone either way. This build is pretty much finished, so let's do a recap. The basic goal is to stack as much power onto Gargoyle as possible. There are 2 major contributors here: Wyrmling's Ascension and Mandy's Regenerated Prime, both of which grant up to 2 stacks of power to the team. In order to trigger these, we have to have a whole bunch of healing being thrown around every turn. Wyrmling's Energy Charm and the slew of healing from Mandy's passive are heavy lifters, sure, but Gargoyle's power healing comes in clutch as well, healing 9 total HP each time it gains power. On top of this, Gargoyle's Mineralize not only shields the entire team, but it gives everyone temporary power, which also heals thanks to power healing. Then, thanks to its signature passive, Wyrmling adds its power to Gargoyle and Mandy, doubling the effectiveness of those passives. So now, we can have turns like this. We are so powerful now that these hallway fights are practically free. Here's a funny level up though. Magnus hit just felt like the most delicious cherry on top. I'm not patient enough to do the math for make it double, so I don't know whether that was stronger or not. Big payoff damage did activate my neurons though. And hey, Wyrmling got the exact same thing. The end is in sight. Nothing really game-changing comes up after this, so here's a few highlights. In the lead up to Star Spawn, we got one final level up for Garg and Wyrm. Level 6 is typically lackluster for me because an extra action doesn't make much of a difference. Garg got a free action attack in Air Dart, which is actually really good. Wyrm got Volcanic Essence, which is not as good. Anyways, let's see how this team handles Star Spawn. Star Spawn is a nasty boy, especially in heroic mode where his HP is a whopping 517. He has a big ticket party annihilating move in Starbeam, which I would really prefer he didn't do. In order to prevent that from happening, you want to pay attention to his passive, Tides of the Void. Each turn, Starspawn announces an element. Every time you or he uses that element for an action, he generates 1 Wild Ether. Once he reaches 5 Wild Ether, he will unleash Starbeam, and that's pretty difficult to handle. To make matters worse, Starbeam gives him 1 stack of power. There's even more than that though. Every 4 attacks, he'll gain 1 power from momentum, so that's every 2 turns. Then, he'll gain 1 power from Ancient Power every 3 turns. Once he gets even a little bit of power on him, you want to pay attention to his Water Wind attack, Icy Assault. That move has 5 hits of damage, and it can easily one-shot your squishier monsters. You have to chew through that huge HP pool quickly, or even the tankiest team won't be able to handle his attacks. So, how did we measure up? Round 1 is just pleasantries. We set up the bread and butter while playing around Tides of the Void and peppering in some good damage with Magnus hit. Starspawn gets in 2 basic attacks to start, which spells trouble for round 2. Round 2, I made a misplay. I swung a cheeky Dust Strike thinking it would stagger Starspawn, but I missed by 1 while giving them 1 Wild Ether. Thankfully, I did get the stagger soon after. Unfortunately, Starspawn didn't lose Icy Assault, so I had to try weakening him with Mandy's Spore, which turned out to be the right call. Starspawn only dealt 16 damage to Mandy thanks to that. We're already halfway through that giant HP bar, and we just activated Regenerated Prime. It's over. This is it. I'll let this final turn speak for itself. Yup, we destroyed him. I never grow tired of these crazy runs you can get. Anyways, thanks for sticking it out this long. If you like this video, maybe some of my other wares will interest you. I don't have much right now, but I'm focusing on anime reviews and assorted video game content like this. If you're interested in Aethermancer, I have an entire in-depth guide you can dig into. Have your own Aethermancer runs you want to share? Talk about them in the comments below. Anything you can do can seriously help this channel grow, so thanks ahead of time. My name is Slapippi, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.